Good evening, everyone. It is delightful to see everyone here. You might notice that I am not Amy Cho. And befitting, yes, really, befitting of life in Washington, D.C. in these times, unfortunately, Amy has been called off on assignment to cover, what would we expect, the federal shutdown. So as a result, we're improvising a little bit tonight. In her place, we're going to have a couple of different people help to MC. And it's going to still be a wonderful evening. It's just wonderful to see everyone here. Part of this event for all of us is just being in family, in community together, and to share successes, share acts of courage, share how people are changing other people's lives for the better. So with no further ado, I will introduce our board chair that will help to MC this evening, Mark Fordham.
This is not in the script, but if John is not Amy Cho, I'm really not Amy Cho. So grateful to have such a good crowd here tonight. Thank you so much for coming. I just want to really thank you from the bottom of my heart. I've been involved in the organization for almost 20 years now as a board member, and it's my great pleasure to be here tonight as the chair of the board. Since 1991, Asian Americans Advancing Justice, AAJC, has been doing really tireless work around the country to advance civil rights, human rights, and justice. Tonight, we get to honor those same values by honoring those whose commitment and vision moves us every day toward a more just and equitable society. We have great honorees tonight. The American Courage Awards shine a spotlight on individuals, organizations, and leaders who embody the values of courage, unity, and justice. Their stories remind us why we come together year after year to be inspired, to recognize leadership, and to recommit ourselves to building a more inclusive future for all. And while we celebrate tonight, we also want to announce, here's a plug, that the silent auction is live. And for those of you in the room, there are some incredible items up for grabs from the Sony PS5. It was sitting at $350 when I came in, so, go bid often, bid high. It's like Chicago tonight. Bundle and this PS5 bundle and gourmet gift baskets. From those to restaurant gift cards and fine wines and even sake. I have a guess who might have donated that. So be sure to check out the auction tables and get your bid and support to support the mission of Advancing Justice AAJC. Thanks again for coming tonight. I'm not going to hold us up any longer with scripted introductory remarks. So let's get on with the celebration with our first award of the evening, the Changemaker Award. This award recognizes individuals who are paving the way for progress, breaking barriers, and inspiring real change in our communities. To present this award, please join me in welcoming my friend Gina Shishima, U.S. Chief Strategy and Operations Partner for Norton Rose Fulbright, who has been a champion for equality and a longtime board member of Asian Americans Advancing Justice, AAJC. Gina?
So the Changemaker Award honors individuals and organizations whose leadership and bold actions have brought about significant positive change for Asian American communities. This year, we recognize two remarkable organizations that have demonstrated that regardless of obstacles, we possess the power to overcome them. It is my privilege to present this award to two organizations tonight that embody the spirit of change. Asian Americans United showcase the transformative power of storytelling and community care in their successful campaign to protect Philadelphia's Chinatown from a stadium development project that threatened a beloved working-class neighborhood's future and cultural heritage. Their monumental victory last year provided a compelling example of how narrative change can drive effective advocacy. AAU mobilized a broad collaboration of elders, youths, and allies to defeat a billionaire-backed plan to construct a sports arena in the heart of Philadelphia's Chinatown. This effort was not merely about saving buildings, it was about safeguarding, nurturing, and affirming the identity of an entire community. Asian Texas for Justice, our second organization, exemplifies a steadfast commitment to promoting civic action and building coalitions by activating and amplifying the voices of Asian American communities, striving for a more inclusive future in Texas. As someone living in Texas, I can say this is crucial because we're talking about a state where communities of color have been historically marginalized. ATJ is building the infrastructure to ensure Asian Texans are not just present, but leading. They have tackled critical issues from opposing discriminatory land laws, reminiscent of historical xenophobia, to launching multilingual voter outreach campaigns. Whether nurturing the next generation of AAPI leaders or forging statewide and national alliances, ATJ is creating a space for bold belonging and transformative civic power. Please join me in welcoming Vivian Chang of Asian Americans United and Lily True of Asian Texans for Justice.
Okay. Sorry, I'm going to keep you standing. Thank you, everyone. My name is Vivian Chang. I'm the proud executive director of Asian Americans United. Yes. And it's so good to be in this room with you all. And, what we always recognize at AAU in Philadelphia is our legacy. I mean, there are many great cities in this country. Philadelphia, founding city, just saying, 250th anniversary. But I always want to start with recognizing the legacy that I stand on the shoulders of, because it truly is. I actually had lived in DC prior to this, moved back 2 years ago. So I'm really building on the shoulders of giants. So with me today is Wei Chen and Deborah Wei from Philadelphia. Debbie was a founding member of Asian Americans United. Wei is our civic engagement director. And if you know Debbie, you would be scared of her. I'm just saying. She is feisty, yes. She is someone not to be messed with. Yes, Debbie will also do nice things, yes. The sugar and the spice, But it's people like her who brought us here, right? And we don't do this work for the awards, but we appreciate that recognition because a lot of this work is very unseen, invisibilized. We were fighting this arena that you heard about for 2.5 years. So, I was just actually talking to Debbie about AAU, and people ask, what do you do besides the arena? We do a lot. We do youth leadership programs, we run civic engagement programs, and actually AAU is built on youth engagement. So, in 1985, when AAU was founded 40 years ago, we're celebrating that birthday, we started with summer programs, and we're thinking about how do you build up that next generation? And so actually we found out about the arena in July 2022 during the summer program. It's very, very premonition. But we were having our youth think about what could the future of Chinatown look like? And instead we had to fight for the current, the existence. We had to put everything on hold and our lives on hold and then, rally thousands of people, hundreds of organizations. I don't know that anybody knew where that was gonna end. But all we knew was we had to keep defending Chinatown. And I know a lot of folks in the room know, but I'm going to share a little history. This is not the first time that Philly Chinatown was under threat, nor was it the second or third or fourth or fifth. Because our Chinatown has faced off against a casino, prison, baseball stadium, a highway, like many, many communities of color across the country. And so when we embarked on this struggle, we knew this is a historic struggle, not just for Chinatown, not just for AAPI communities, but for communities across the country. Because so many neighborhoods have been displaced already, they never got the chance to build up legacy institutions like AAU and like the communities we have in Chinatown. So, I want to also shout out folks like Ellen Somakawa, Nita Patel, Deborah Kodish, all the staff at AAU, and all of our coalition allies, because they can't be in this room, but they were so critical to this fight. And this fight was also about solidarity across communities. Because at the same time we heard about the arena coming in, there's a group of folks who live in West Philadelphia, fighting for their homes, called the University City Townhomes. And this is public housing promised to families that was then displaced by University of Pennsylvania and Drexel University. So the same folks who are, sitting on the trustee boards of University of Pennsylvania, Josh Harris, he owns the 76ers, he owns the DC Commanders. And DC, yeah, exactly, just approved that football stadium for God knows how many billions of dollars. So we have been supporting that struggle too. And like I said, it's really not just certain communities, it's communities all over the country that are being displaced, that are being wiped out. So I hope, to recognize this struggle is not just one struggle. I think that's something that's interesting about awards. We always think like, oh, there's the one person receiving it. And that's why I was very uncomfortable. I was like, Debbie should take this award. But I appreciate that AAJC was recognizing, AAJC supported, Advancing Justice AAJC supported this fight from the very beginning. And they supported the narrative change that we were trying to make happen. So we lifted up stories that were being untold. Folks think of Chinatowns as a tourist destination, as nothing. People, literally we had a council member say, people live there? And so we had to fight very long. And so we celebrate that we have this Chinatown now that we're protecting. And I appreciate the words of this award, courage, because we have to stick to our principles in this time. These are very dark times. And it's a slippery slope. So courage looks like fighting for our communities. And it also, as I was learning, it means fighting for our staff, for union contracts. There are staff in this room who put together, we couldn't not have defeated the arena without staff from AAJC supporting us. And especially want to give a shout out to Catherine Kahlo, who couldn't be here, who is a new mother, and learned of her struggle trying to just stay in this work. So I appreciate that support, and I really hope that folks support the workers in this struggle. Thank you.
So that was kind of me, and I don't know how to follow Vivian. So hi everyone, thank you for having me. Thank you for being here. My name is Lily True. I am one of the co-founders and the co-executive director of Asian Texans for Justice. We don't have a long legacy, unlike AAU and the great work that they do. We are relatively new. We've only been around since 2001. As you can all remember, a really tough time for Asian Americans all across the country. Texas was no exception. And so, my pitch usually as to why Texas is, APIs in Texas, we are the fastest growing racial group, not just in Texas, but in the entire country. So our communities are growing faster in Texas than anywhere. And so I had the privilege to meet several of you this evening, and we did the customary, how are you? How's your work? And my answer has been, it's terrible, because I work in Texas. The common thing for most people, but especially for the Asian American community in Texas, is how isolating and how lonely and how invisible we feel doing this work in Texas. It's the constant defunding of public schools. It's the constant voter suppression. It's the redistricting and of these maps that will now strip us even more of our voices. And so I want to take just a couple of seconds here to really thank AAJC. And to say that AAJC, as well as some of the other partner orgs that are in the room tonight, are really what has allowed for us to do our work these last few years. So I'll tell a really brief story, and John didn't pay me to say this. But AAJC has been so pivotal to what we do. So in 2023, Texas tried to pass an anti-alien land law that would prohibit mostly people of Asian descent from being able to buy land. And we were able to successfully defeat it in 2023, thankfully. But of course, they didn't stop there. So in 2024, there was a hearing about this topic. And I frantically called AAJC and said, there's a hearing. We need a subject matter expert. Could someone come down to Texas? Could someone please testify? Because we don't have an expert in Texas who's prepared to do it. And I thought maybe they would send, a staff member. You guys all know many qualified staff members at AAJC could have done this and could have done this phenomenally. And they said, yes, let me call you back. And within a few minutes, they called and they said, John's flying down. When do you want him there? That's the level of support that we have been getting from AAJC since 2001, since our inception. And it's because of that. It is because of that kind of support. It is that backing of AAJC and our other partners here in DC and elsewhere across the country that reminds us that the work we do in Texas isn't so lonely, that we aren't so invisible, and that we aren't so alone. So thank you, AAJC. Thank you for this honor, and thank you, everyone, for being here tonight.
It's now my great pleasure to reintroduce the person who leads this organization with great poise, wisdom, and vision. Please join me in welcoming back John C. Yang, the President and Executive Director of Advancing Justice, Asian American Justice Center. John?
Thank you very much, and I very much appreciate Lily's shout out. And it goes to the work that we all do together, because it is certainly not a chore to go down to Texas when we see the need and when we see what we can do together. I will admit, in preparing for tonight, I had very mixed emotions, especially when I thought about my emotions last year at this time, which was just before the presidential elections. And the excitement, yes, the nervousness that we felt at the time, when juxtaposed against what many of us probably feel right now, which is fear, frustration, and even anger. But as I think about that, I also think about the fact that our community has been through this before. We have been through these dark times before. And what stands out is how resolute, how resilient, and how relentless we are in the work that we do in pursuing civil rights and pursuing an equitable society. And in doing that, having those characters, that is how we ignite change. That is how we fuel progress together. I also had mixed emotions because as I thought about this, it somehow felt in a way wrong to celebrate the accomplishments that we had when we have so much harm, so much hurt that is existing in our community. But to be clear, finding joy is not frivolous in this moment. Finding time to celebrate our humanity, to celebrate our accomplishments, is not to be minimized in this moment. Because in doing that, that is how we turn hate into love. That is how we turn fear into courage. And that is how we turn paralysis into action. So obviously we don't do all of this work alone. And I want to take a moment to recognize some of our wonderful partners. First, I want to give a shout out to our corporate sponsors, our partners that have helped to support this event, throughout the year. You saw their names listed in the slideshow at the beginning. You see them listed in the program. I'd like to have you all give them a big round of applause. And second, I want to give a big shout out to our board of directors and our National Advisory Council, whose vision, whose guidance, whose dedication to our mission helps us to keep us grounded and to be steering in the right direction. So if I can ask them to stand and be recognized, I would appreciate that. And certainly I want to thank my staff. Our staff is the backbone of what we do, the day in and day out. The work that they do, the dedication that they have in sometimes very difficult circumstances, sometimes very time-sensitive circumstances, cannot be minimized. This is not easy work. And it is something that I would ask all of you to get to know them, get to know the work that they do, because it is so vital to keep that going. So if I can ask all of them to stand and be recognized. And finally, I want to express deep appreciation and love to my wife, Esther. As you all know, work like this is not easy. And the time that it takes, the evenings, the travel, and just being a guidance, a counselor through this. Both of us have busy lives, and for her to spend the time that she has is deeply meaningful. So thank you, Esther. Together, AAJC, we're advocating, we're educating, we're empowering our communities. What I mean by that is advocating what we do is on the Hill before the administration, even difficult administrations, and trying to get policies that we want. Advocating means litigation in terms of lawsuits that we file to try to get the rights that we deserve. Education means making sure the community, the broader community, understands the needs of the Asian American community. Too often we are invisible, we are unheard, we are unseen. And to make sure that outlets, whether it's the Washington Post, NBC, ABC, New York Times, and even the Wall Street Journal, cover what we are doing and cover it in a fair way is so important to making sure that the Asian American community is seen and heard. And empowering means making sure our communities are seen and heard. Communities such as AAU, ATJ, and making sure that they have the resources that they need. We are privileged to be able to give subgrants to many of these organizations throughout the years to give them the capacity that they want, that they need. And so that is the work, that is the core of the work that we do. At the end of the day, one of the things that I always think about is the fact that we do live in divided times, but it doesn't have to be divided. And so finding a way to connect on a different manner, to be able to disagree in an agreeable manner, to find the common bonds of humanity, and what that means to our community. To me, what that means is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yes? I say those words proudly, and I will say that I am not saying those words as political words. Why I use those words is because I believe in those values, the value of diversity, the value of equity, and the value of inclusion. And if you think about those values, those are our American values. That has has made this country strong, that has made this country prosper, and that is what's going to propel this country into the future. So I will not back away from those words. And I would ask all of us to use our different voices to continue to express those values to our communities, to other communities, so that they understand that this wonderful country that we live in deserves to be nurtured, deserves to be cared for, and we could help it prosper into the future by living up to those values. Thank you very much.
I'd like to say it's hard to follow John because it is, but our next speaker will not have a problem, I don't believe. I better find my script here. We've shared so many wonderful accomplishments tonight, and before we present our next award, I want to take a moment to introduce an individual who has already received her title. But before I do that, I want to say I took the time and the pleasure to meet her father out in front and speak for several minutes about how proud he is of his daughter. He relayed to me a really great story, which was he has 4 children, he and his wife, and he had a dream that his daughter might grow up to be a lawyer. God's sakes, I don't know why, or perhaps a doctor. But instead, she's a poet and writer, and he said it with great joy and support for her, and reflected, it's maybe hard to earn a living as a poet and writer, but he said, but God will provide, and I just want to give blessings to him for the great wisdom to see that and support her as a poet and writer. So Neha Kumar was named as DC's 2025 Youth Poet Laureate. She also received her school's Writers' Prize, the Killip McMahon Award for Creative Writing, and she's an alumna of Sewanee Young Writers Conference. She will be performing her poem, Never Tell a Fae Your Name, for It's the Essence of Your Soul. Let's welcome Neha to the stage.
Hi, everyone. How are we doing tonight? Before I start this poem, I just want to say, when I was writing it, I was just like, man, Neha is not a hard name to pronounce, you know? Like, it's 4 letters. It's really common. It's a really common Indian name. Like, show of hands, how many people here have their name mispronounced all the time? Right? It should not be this many. Names are important, and they are very easy to get right if you care about the people that you're saying their names of. So when I was writing this poem, I was like, there is such deep history behind each and every one of our names. They mean something. Why not share what mine means? Never tell a fae your name, for it's the essence of your soul. Neha, dewdrop. Neharika, constellation of stars. The guiding light in silken darkness, always there, shining down. My father named me for the nakshatras, Hindu constellations that he would study with his father, with sticky mango juice dripping off his chin, proud symbols of their victory up the mango tree. They did everything up there under the blessing of the stars. His father taught him palm reading, how to track your destiny, not to defy it. He would laugh, a sturdy laugh that kept my father grounded, despite being 10 feet in the air. They would read the Ramayana, the newspaper, whisper stories of the Kohinoor diamond stolen to the British Museum, 4,166 miles away from home. You can never abandon your home, his father would say. For your home is your family, the memories of your ancestors passed down to you. My father had a notebook tracking the nakshatras across the years. He threw it into the river when his father died. I've never seen it. What is a name if not a legacy? A story passed down through whispered caresses and promises traced on skin, rose petals pressed into pillows on the tops of trains fleeing partition, traded blows, swords trembling, fists to skin, shaking in closets underneath dupattas touching the stars, henna tattoos on fingertips so red you can't see where the henna ends and a river of blood blooms. A story told on the backs of horses woven into sari silk, passed from grandmother to daughter, from RNA to DNA, etched into the strings suturing my skin together, the leaves of a mango tree during monsoon season holding me upright. My mother named me for her closest friend. She'd only say in the cover of darkness, Neha, dewdrop, bubbling laughter that would ring clear, cutting through church bells and monsoon winds. They're brightest in the mornings, little prisms holding rainbows close to their chest, clinging to the backs of spider silk after the storm clears. She'd whisper the songs they would sing twisting through fields of grass. You have to be careful. Don't touch. Look down and enjoy the peace while it lasts before it crumbles through your fingertips, never to be seen again. I don't know what happened to Neha. Mother never talks about her anymore. If you asked me if destiny was real, I don't think I could tell you no. History is an ever-looping circle, twisted just so to make it different each time around. I like to think my name was a blessing bestowed by powers above. I've never met my grandfather. I don't know any of the nakshatras. My father refuses to read my palm. You're too young to outrace fate, he tells me all the time. I've never climbed a mango tree. I've never had Hindi or Tamil flow off my tongue like the Ganges River. I've never swam through a Sri Lankan field singing Bollywood tunes before the crack of dawn. But I'd like to think I claimed my destiny when I lay on the yard tracking Orion, Sagittarius, Ursa Major. I'd like to think I claim my destiny when I take my brother on late-night ice cream runs, when my sisters cling to me during thunderstorms and I sing their favorite songs. We'll build a blanket fort, flashlights, our own constellations, our own nakshatras. That night, resounding laughter and ghost stories and marshmallow smiles. I'll grab my family legacy with my own 2 hands before it flies away. I won't let them leave me behind. I choose to enter the cycles of strife, of joy, weaving myself into the family saris, and maybe someday the family looking down on me will be proud to call me Neha, dewdrop, Neharika, constellation of stars. Say it right. The guiding light in silken darkness, forever present. Just look up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Neha. That was such a beautiful performance. We look forward to seeing where your voice takes us into the future. I would be remiss as executive director, since part of my job is to fundraise, not to remind people about the silent auction and all of the wonderful items that are out there. There are gift baskets, there are food certificates, gift certificates for restaurants, Asian American Pacific Islander-owned businesses. Really want to help support them as well as to support us. So please take a look when you get a moment, and we would appreciate it. Now we turn to one of our signature honors, the American Courage Award. This award is presented to those who have shown extraordinary courage and commitment to the cause of civil rights. And to present this evening's award, it is my personal honor and privilege to have Kristen Clark, who will present the award. Kristen was the 19th Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights for the U.S. Department of Justice between 2021 and 2025. In this role, she led enforcement of civil rights laws for our country in the federal system. Under her leadership, she set records with respect to enforcement of hate crimes, police misconduct, housing, redlining, among many, many other issues. Prior to her leadership of the Civil Rights Division of DOJ, she was the Executive Director of Lawyers Committee under Civil Rights under Law, where she led litigation on voting, census, where we worked together, housing, and many, many other issues. She's just truly a groundbreaking attorney and a leader. I'm privileged to call her a friend and a colleague in all of the work that we've done together. Thank you for all of your service. Please come up and present our next awards.
Good evening. Thank you, John, for that very gracious introduction, and thanks to Asian Americans Advancing Justice and AAJC for all of the tremendous and important work that you have done and continue to do across our country to ensure equal justice under law for Asian American communities in every corner of the country. Before I turn to our honorees, I want to share a brief word about the history of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under Law because I find it relevant to this moment. The Lawyers Committee was created at the behest of President John F. Kennedy in the summer of 1963, following a meeting of 244 lawyers in the East Room of the White House. Civil rights groups were demonstrating and taking other collective public actions to call out segregation, injustice, and mass disenfranchisement of Black citizens. Alabama Governor George Wallace vowed to block court-ordered desegregation of the University of Alabama. A confrontation between the Justice Department and U.S. Marshals and Governor Wallace was scheduled for June 11, 1963. Bernard Siegel, a corporate attorney in Philadelphia who later went on to become president of the ABA, was pressed by his wife about why the private bar had not organized and taken a stance on Governor Wallace's blatant defiance and resistance. "Where are the lawyers?" she asked. That pressure prompted Siegel to rally 53 lawyers who together published a statement in Alabama newspapers calling out Governor Wallace's resistance to the rule of law. The lawyers called for all officials to simply respect the rule of law. That list eventually expanded and resulted in a longer list of 244 lawyers invited to the White House. There, President Kennedy, Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson, and Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy urged the bipartisan group of lawyers in attendance, many of them leaders of the state bars and lawyers from firms both big and small, to use the law to protect victims of discrimination. Those lawyers met at a time where there was great urgency about the absence of an organized bar in the civil rights movement. That historic meeting was a turning point. It galvanized the private bar to provide pro bono support to safeguard constitutional rights and to help ensure the rule of law going forward. Those lawyers deemed themselves missionaries of the bar. They leveraged their skills as negotiators and mediators to resolve disputes, and they provided pro bono legal assistance to victims of discrimination. Today, we find ourselves once again asking, where are the lawyers? And will the lawyers stand on the right side of history? Will those lawyers fiercely and unapologetically stand for the rule of law? Will they stand up to today's George Wallaces and Bull Connors? Today, we honor lawyers who are indeed standing on the right side of history. The American Courage Award celebrates those that have shown an extraordinary commitment to the cause of civil rights. This year, we honor 4 law firms who are steadfast in respecting the rule of law, due process, and equal protection for all. They exemplify the highest ideals of the legal profession: courage, integrity, and an unshakable dedication to equal justice under the law. We celebrate their relentless pursuit of justice and their powerful influence in promoting the rule of law. Their collective efforts not only protect the rule of law, but also inspire future generations of legal professionals to uphold the ideals of courage and integrity under the rule of law. Please join me in welcoming our awardees: Lindsay Harrison of Jenner and Block, William Malley of Perkins Coie, Gloria Park of Sussman Godfrey, and Debo Adegbile of Wilmer Hale.
I'll follow the poet. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us and for this honor. I can't tell you what a privilege it is to stand here representing my law firm, Jenner & Block, to accept this award. For close to 3 decades of the American Courage Award, Asian Americans Advancing Justice, AAJC, has lifted up institutions of remarkable resolve. Women and men of profound courage, from law to public service to the arts, who have helped champion the cause of civil rights. Thank you for the work you do and for this incredible recognition. I'm glad to be in such good company tonight with our friends from Wilmer and Perkins and Sussman. And I just first want to take a few minutes to talk about one of the most remarkable examples of courage that I have personally seen. So 8 years ago, the Trump administration attempted to rescind the DACA program. As you probably know, DACA was created so that undocumented young people who arrived in this country as children, were raised here, could work and live here without fear of being deported to a country that they may no longer remember and that they did not understand to be theirs. So our clients at the time, Microsoft Corporation and Princeton University, wanted to do something about the rescission of the DACA program. They had employees and students who had benefited from DACA, and they wanted to help them. But to bring a lawsuit, we felt we really needed someone who actually had deferred action as a plaintiff alongside them, because companies and universities don't actually have DACA, individuals do. And so we needed to find an individual who could have standing to stand alongside our corporate and university plaintiffs. So we interviewed a number of DACA recipients before we found one who stepped forward and said that she would be willing to put her name on a lawsuit against the Trump administration, put her story in the record, put her family at risk, put herself at risk. She was a young Princeton student, and she had a massive amount to lose. But she raised her hand, not only participating in the case, but doing so in her own name. She even came to the Supreme Court in person for the argument where we defended and won her right to remain in this country. And to this day, her willingness to stand up to the federal government is one of the most remarkable examples of courage that I have ever witnessed. So when our law firm was faced with an executive order earlier this year, we had a pretty powerful example of how one might respond in the face of unlawful action by our government. And if you want to know why we fought, it's simple. We fought for our clients, as we always have and as we always will. Any lawyer who has a side deal with the government is not an independent lawyer, period. We also fought for our firm, for our associates, our professional staff, and for everyone who has ever been proud to work at Jenner & Block. And to all of us, Jenner has been and continues to be a place where we fight for our clients, like Maria, in their most high-stake and complex matters, whether they're paid or pro bono. And we're going to keep doing that. We also fought for our profession, and I know my fellow honorees understand this as well. What would it mean for our industry, or for a company or a nonprofit or any individual person who needed a lawyer, if these unconstitutional orders and the threats against lawyers and law firms based on the work they do and the clients they represent, what would it mean if we all just accepted that as the status quo, that they could be retaliated against for representing those clients? We weren't going to find out. We weren't going to wait. And by the way, neither was Princeton student who put her name on that complaint 7 years ago. So this spring, on May 19th, that young Princeton undergrad graduated from Yale Law School. And she now is working representing farm workers, defending their civil rights, and demonstrating courage every single day for her clients. And 4 days after I watched her walk across the stage at Yale, getting her diploma, a federal district court in Washington, D.C. ruled that the president's executive order against our law firm was unlawful. And so, we have every day before, and as we will every day since, my Jenner Block colleagues and I are going to keep working on behalf of our clients, zealously and without compromise. And we've said it again and again for about 6 months now, that to do anything else is simply not in our DNA. Thank you all very much.
Good evening, everyone. It is an honor to be here this evening. I'm joined by my colleagues Paul Hirose, partner in our Los Angeles office, and Dennis Hopkins, a partner in our New York office. It's great to be here with both of you and with all of you. Never did I think on March 6th that I would be standing here on October 2nd with all of you. So much has happened. But a night like this takes us back to a moment like that one on March 6th, a day of, just of great consequence into some of the decisions that we made in that moment and that others made in the few weeks, following. So I'll start with this, we are honored, I'm honored on behalf of the firm to accept this award on behalf of everyone, every lawyer and business professional at Perkins Coie, because we are all a part of this journey that we've been on together. AAJC's legacy is reflected in leaders like Karen Narasaki, who began her career at Perkins Coie and went on to help build this organization into a national voice for civil rights. Her path reminds us that progress comes when institutions and individuals work together with courage and principle. So a few thoughts on courage and what it's meant, this year for the rule of law. We know that our constitutional rights have force and vitality only if someone is willing to stand up and defend them. The willingness to act in defense of rights is at its core an act of courage. For the courts to play their role in safeguarding justice, we as lawyers must play ours. We are the bridge between principle and practice, between the promise of rights and their realization. The courts can safeguard rights only if lawyers have the courage to bring the case. And when we do, the courts uphold rights that protect everyone. I'll just tell you like a brief story on this score. This takes me back to March 13th, which was the day that the district court issued the temporary restraining order in our case. And if you've ever had chills, you have them when you walk out of that courtroom and you realize what the court just did. And so we were kind of hustled into this van, and we went back to Williams and Connolly. That's the firm that represented us. And you'll recall the lawyer who led the team, Dane Butzwinkus, and he did something that I thought was very wise, and I recommend all lawyers. He brought the whole team into a conference room. And it was just hustle on down to the conference room because we're all going to get together and just recognize, this moment. And he had a chance to say a few words to this group, and so did I and a few others. And, it was one of those moments where, it's a very, like you could feel the impact and meaning of what had just happened an hour or so before. And it was a moment where he and I both spoke to the group that it took courage to bring this case. It took courage for each one of those lawyers to put their name, on the pleading. You could really feel that, And so it was one of those moments you realize what it means to be, a lawyer, whether it was the partner on the case or any of the associates who worked on that matter. So I really felt it, and I think that it really embodied that one moment, embodied a lot of what this award represents. So we are honored to be recognized with all of these other great firms who took courageous action to defend core constitutional rights. And we thank AAJC for your leadership. It is indeed an honor to be in your company this evening. Thank you.
Good evening. As you've heard, I'm Debo Adegbile of the WilmerHale firm, here with my good friends from AAJC to celebrate this important evening. Congratulations to AAJC for the 29th Annual American Courage Awards, and thank you for this tremendous honor on behalf of myself and all of us at WilmerHale. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to work on very significant policy and litigation matters with AAJC, and I've seen the way that they live their commitments. Tonight, we're reflecting on what it takes to live your commitments. It is particularly meaningful for our firm to be recognized alongside other leaders who are consciously choosing to gird the rule of law, both for our profession and for the nation. we are proud to stand alongside Jenner Perkins and Sussman Godfrey, and also, as we've heard, brave individuals who are making a difference in community in Philadelphia, in Texas, and the next generation who are inspiring us with her thoughts and her words. AAJC has served as a leading voice for Asian American communities on civil rights issues for more than 30 years and continues to courageously and effectively carry that mantle. As we have done together with AAJC, WilmerHale represents many clients who seek to vindicate fundamental civil and constitutional rights in a broad range of contexts. This year, as you've heard from my colleagues, some of us were called upon to vindicate those principles, not just as lawyers, but as clients. The commitment in both situations remains as deep, and it aligns with WilmerHale's guiding principles and legacy of protecting the rule of law and due process. Our democracy at the end of the day rests only on a rule of law. We can't have democracy without it. And so as I leave you tonight, I am reminded of some important things. To be in community is a choice. Courage is a choice. We have learned every day that democracy is a choice. Together, let's make the right choice and inspire others to make the right choice with us. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Gloria Park. I'm a partner in the New York office of Sussman Godfrey. It's truly a privilege for me to be here tonight to represent my law firm and with my fellow honorees at Jenner Perkins and WilmerHale. I unfortunately cannot comment given the ongoing litigation, but at least that helps me keep my remarks short as a final speaker. But I do want to say thank you very much to the AAJC for this very special award. Thank you.
I remember as a baby lawyer just struggling to do pro bono work, and such an inspiration to be standing here amongst folks who just towered above giants and providing it and standing firm against, no further comment, the tyranny of what's been going on. So it's a really powerful reminder, and thank you all, and thank you for being here to represent your firms and our honorable profession. Just a quick reminder, I'm going to make this short, but it's another plug to visit the silent auction table. I'm not reading from the script after that, but I really hope you do. And you will hope you do when you see what's out there. As we continue this evening, we take a moment to reflect on the legacy of one of the great leaders of our time, the Honorable Norman Y. Mineta. Secretary Mineta's lifetime of public service continues to inspire generations of advocates and change makers, including me. Please turn your attention to the screen for a short video honoring his legacy.
How do you honor a trailblazer like Norman Y. Mineta, who, despite experiencing the pain of an unjust incarceration by his own government, led a life of unparalleled service and duty that inspired countless others to follow in his footsteps, whose integrity and passion earned the respect of all who knew him. While driven to change the nation he loved for the better, never lost sight of our most vulnerable and marginalized communities, and was deeply committed to increasing Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander participation at all levels of government. How do you pay tribute to a man who represents the very best of America?
In honor of Secretary Norman Mineta and his life in public service, Asian Americans Advancing Justice, AAJC, is proud to announce the Norman Y. Mineta Spirit Award, which will honor individuals who exemplify Norm's courage and dedication to community in protecting and advancing civil and human rights for all.
We thank Norm Mineta for his service to our communities and to our country. Norm knew so well the importance of young leaders. He mentored so many of us during his time. And when he mentored us, he got to know us. For Norm, it was important to know people's names, not because they were famous, or not because of their titles, but rather he knew that getting to know people would result in people being better servants for our country. We want to honor Norm and his spirit with this award, because the best way to honor his legacy is to continue fighting for the dreams and ideals for which he believed.
I hope you're as moved as I was by that tribute. Secretary Mineta's vision and leadership lives on in the next generation of changemakers. Now, to present the Norman Y. Mineta Spirit Award, it is my honor to invite to the stage Catherine Coleman, Corporate Responsibility Analyst for State Farm Insurance. Catherine manages national charitable relationships within the Black, African American, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander, for those of us who are keeping up with acronyms, the AANHPI, and it is important to make the differentiation, and LGBTQ plus communities. With over 25 years of experience at State Farm, Catherine has cultivated a career defined by leadership, collaboration, and community impact. State Farm has been a strong supporter of Advancing Justice, AAJC's Youth Leadership Summit, and Youth Ambassador Cohort programs. Catherine herself has been so dedicated to AAJC's youth programming that she has shown up at the last several youth leadership summits in person to speak to the students. Please join me in welcoming Catherine Coleman.
Thank you, Amy. I'm sorry. Kidding. Mark. It has been my pleasure to represent State Farm's commitment to young people through the work of Asian Americans Advancing Justice, AAJC. In fact, we have been in relationship with AAJC since 1999, so over 25 years we've had this partnership. I am so energized being able to speak with the students each year and by the conversations I get to have with them. In fact, I had a conversation with Andrew and it energized me even more a little bit earlier. When AAJC asked me to present this Spirit Award, of course, I jumped at the chance to recognize an amazing young man who is setting the standard to what a young advocate and leader can achieve in the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities. The work of AAJC and the community-based organizations are sowing the seeds for the next generation to harvest. Norman Mineta's legacy is one that embodied the resilience, the strength, and the vision for a better future for AANHPI communities. So it is so fitting that we are honoring someone who is building on that legacy. Andrew De La Salas is a steward of civic engagement, mental health, and leadership development for Midwestern Asian American youth. He is an alumnus of AAJC's very own Youth Leadership Summit and currently serves as the Chief of Staff at the Missouri Asian American Youth Foundation. I am proud to present Andrew De La Salas with the 2025 Norman Y. Mineta Spirit Award. Please welcome him to the stage.
First off, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, and thank you, Asian Americans Advancing Justice, for this award. It's an honor and a privilege to accept this award on behalf of Secretary Minetta's legacy. And I'd also like to give a shout out to all the staff that made this possible, especially the staff who have been instrumental from setup to takedown, and especially staff who've been a continuous point of contact, especially Catherine Kahlo. I'd also like to thank my parents, Robert and Jill, and my brother, Michael de La Salas, for their steadfast love and commitment, as well as my mentor, Caroline Fan at the May Foundation, for continuing to open doors. My generation does not face the same kind of internment camps that Secretary Mineta did, but we face a new form of fascism. A marriage of oligarchic power, wrapped up in a Christian aesthetic, built on exploitation and extraction. And that is the task that my generation faces today. But as we've heard multiple times, we shouldn't be paralyzed by fear, but see it as an opportunity to be creative and innovative in our resistance. I'm grateful for the training and mentorship that this organization has provided me, because at the end of the day, we protect ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. It's just always inspiring to see all of our awardees this evening and the courage that they have, the work that they've done, and how they've contributed to our community. Now, earlier in the evening, I mentioned our sponsors, our partners that have helped to make this possible. I want to mention a few that have really gone above and beyond, and that includes Google, Airbnb, Comcast, and Verizon. So thank you all very, very much. And part of this, I have to say, is like to be able to name them and talk about sort of our partners that are standing up. We know that even at this moment it invokes an act of courage. So we especially appreciate all of you that are showing up, that are being willing to stand with us, visibly stand with us, because we know that that is not easy. We know that that may invite scrutiny for all of you. But that is how we build our bonds together. Now, toward that end, I also want to talk about why this investment is so important to the work that we do, and encourage you all in the next moment to dig deep. What this means in terms of investment for us, in terms of what we've been able to do in this past year, includes filing, I believe, 6 lawsuits, if I have it counted correctly, against the federal government in this past year. These lawsuits have involved everything from birthright citizenship to voting rights to diversity, equity, inclusion, to federal grants. In fact, most recently, you may have seen in the last 2-3 weeks, a lawsuit that we filed on behalf of individuals here in the United States that were being deported to Ghana, who already had an immigration judge say that they would be persecuted in their country of origin. They were deported to Ghana with the idea that the federal government recognized that they would be redeported to their country of origin, where already a federal judge established that they would be persecuted. Now, on one level, you say, well, that's not an Asian American case. But we all recognize that these cases involve cases that matter to us, because we know of individuals in our own midst where if they were deported to an Asian country, they would receive persecution. We are very proud, actually, to partner with our sister organization, Advancing Justice Atlanta. Their executive director is here. Murtaza. But this is what these investments mean to our community, to allow us to do this work. So it gives me great pride to introduce 2 of our board members, Kenzo Kawanabe and Judy Lamb, that will take us through this next portion where everyone can help contribute collectively to continue to invest in our work. Kenzo, Judy.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Judy Lamb.
Can you hear me okay? And I know we are the last thing between you and dinner. So we're going to be done by 7:30, but we are going to have fun for the next 15 minutes.
Yes, Kenzo, I always love joining you on the stage. So this part involves all of you who have come to support us. Thank you. And we feel your support We feel the heat in the room, but I want to feel a little bit more of the heat. So everyone has got flame at their tables.
Please
We're gonna
pull
use
out
these
the
now.
orange flame. This costs you nothing. Nothing. Pull it out. We have strategically placed a camera up there. We have many people online. So we want to make them jealous. We want to turn up the heat. So please, just raise your flame and then fire it up. Fire it up for the people online.
Fire it up.
Come on, Douglas, I hear you. Fire this up. Come on, fire it up. All right? Doesn't that feel good? Get used to that. All right. That was free. That was a freebie. Judy.
So quickly, just an introduction. I'm Judy Lamb. I practice law in Los Angeles, where I'm a litigator and a trial lawyer with Maynard Nexon. And I'm proud to say my firm is based in Birmingham, Alabama, is a sponsor tonight. And so I'm happy to be on the AAJC board.
Yep, love sharing the stage with Judy. I'm Kenzo Kawanabe. I'm with the law firm of Olson, Grimsley, Kawanabe, Hinchcliffe, and Murray. We are in Denver, impact litigation, including a third of our work is pro bono.
Terrific. So this is the most important part of the night where I know you're all itching to get up and do something. So this is the part where we enlist your help to activate and fuel the work of AAJC, which you heard about tonight. And to continue the work and expand upon our reach, we've set an ambitious fundraising goal. I'm afraid to say the amount. But last year, we raised about $90,000 in this room.
How much?
In one night.
How much?
About $90,000, yeah. So I don't know, is that enough? Kenzo, what do you think?
I think we could do a little better.
I think so.
Just a little.
I think so. I think so.
I'm a 6-digit kind of guy. Yeah? All right, so
Clearly.
that's our goal.
Clearly.
Let's have a goal of $100,000, and we'll see how far we get.
Okay, and every contribution is important, big or small. So it's about everyone doing their part, and everyone has a lot to give. And so I know we're in a room full of supporters.
Okay.
Okay.
So Parkin is really bossy. He's really bossy and so generous. Barkin, what you got for me?
All right, I'll match the first $25,000 that you get out of this room.
Oh.
Wow. Thank you, Parkin.
Parkin is hungry. Hungry. All right. Parkin's match is first $25,000, so we have to at least raise $25,000. Here's how it's going to work. We're going to start at the big level, right? Work our way down. We'll finish off with $100, and then we get to go eat. It's that simple. If you raise your flame, we have staff with clipboards. They will write down your number and follow up with you. So if you raise your flame again, this will cost you, but it's totally worth it. It's totally worth it.
It's
and we're going to
painless.
tell you a
It's
little bit
painless.
about our work as we do this. Okay.
That's great. Who's going to help us to get more of Parkin's money?
Yeah.
Where are we going to start?
I don't know. 15?
I think 15's good. I think it's healthy.
All right. So
kinda
ambitious goal, $15,000. Would anybody be willing to pitch in $15,000 towards the Parkin $25,000 match? Now, this is followed by awkward silence. I don't call out names.
Okay, I see a flame. Yay. Gina, thank you.
Is that Gina?
Yes.
Oh, Gina.
Thank you, Gina Shishima.
Thank you, Gina. Do we have anyone else, in addition to Gina's great generosity, that might be willing to pitch in $15,000? No awkward silence will follow this one. All right. So what is that? 15? We've got 30. We've got to unlock Parkin's additional
We've got to get more of Parkin's money.
Okay.
You know, I think that's a great opportunity. And I had to pack my passport when I came. And so, you know, it's desperate times now.
You say your passport?
I had to bring my passport. I was coming to D.C. and, you know, these times I had to get it into the Spanx, you know. Just had to, you know, it's getting, everything's
It's a little too much
harder.
information. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Judy. What's our next level?
How about 10,000? Who's going to join us in donating 10,000? Just for the rule of law. It's really all it's for. Come on.
How much does the rule of law cost?
How much does it cost? How much is it worth?
Anyone willing to do $10,000?
Yay!
Javaid, is that
Thank
Javaid?
you so much. Thank you so much.
Is that Yoon Young? Thank you.
Thank you. It's big.
Oh.
Anyone else? $10,000. That's a bold move. Thank you.
That was awesome.
Awesome.
I
That's
think
terrific.
we just
Douglas.
Douglas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's terrific.
All right, we unlocked.
Yeah.
We unlocked.
I think we met your heat,
All right.
Parkin.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
When
All right.
Yes.
We're going quickly. Are we at 5,000 now? Does that sound right?
Yeah, let's go to 5,000.
All right, see?
We'd
We're all
like to
hungry.
get some more
We're
pledges.
hungry. All right,
And-
5,000. Now, in our communities, Habib.
Yes, quick.
Habib.
Thanks.
All right, we already start off.
Habib.
5,000. You didn't even hear my pitch. My pitch.
He was sold.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
ready.
You know, I mean, a majority of our communities are immigrants, right? And I think many of us can relate to that. I'm thinking most of us can relate to that, including my great-grandparents. And then I think about my grandparents, American citizens living in Southern California, shipped off to internment camps in World War II. And I'm not alone. Gina's family, Paul's family, many of our families under a law that failed, Alien Enemies Act. And it is horrifying that now that law is being used to attack our brothers and sisters with brown skin. It's no longer the shape of your eyes, it's the color of your skin. It is just as unjust. And in times that are scary, what do? You have courage. You speak. You have spirit and you make change. And the only way to have that courage is to stand up. And AAJC is that courage. And we are asking you to dig a little deeper to help fund that courage. Be part of this movement, because in these scary times, that is the only thing that we can do to fight a bully. So, Judy, we're at $5,000.
$5,000. Do we have anyone that's willing to donate $5,000 besides the folks that have raised their flames? Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Anybody else at
very much.
$5,000?
Right there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Anyone else?
I
Anyone
can't
else?
see. Anyone else at 5,000?
We're fighting big things like, birthright citizenship.
And I do know Linda actually emailed us
Committed.
earlier.
All
So
right.
thank you to Linda and Scott.
Thank you to Linda and Scott. And Javade, is Javade in the room?
He came in higher.
Can I call out
Yeah,
Javed?
don't give him a
Yes.
discount. No. You stay there. You stay at 10, please. That's good. That's good.
Javade, you're so low key.
Yeah.
You're so low key.
All right. So
Thank
now we
you.
have three levels left.
Yes.
No. Is that right? 1,000 and then 500 and then 100?
Yeah,
Is that right?
Somebody had wanted to give at $2,500, so why don't we just call that out?
Okay.
Is there anyone here that can donate at $2,500?
Thank you.
Thank you so
2,500.
much.
You just went higher. You're
you so
inspired. All right, 2,500. I know Jeff is watching. Happy Yom Kippur, Jeff, who is watching. He's at 2,500. We also thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Anyone else? 2,500.
Last night I thought you were at 1,000. You're inspired too. You're
Yes.
Up to 2,500.
Bumped it up.
That's so
Bumped it
good.
up.
That's so good.
That's good.
All right. I hope somebody
Turned
can
up
do
the
math.
heat.
I'm not very good at that. Are we close?
We're at
close.
1,000.
Okay.
So let's go to 1,000. And to spur people to give, and I am someone born in this country, and so I was luckily the recipient of the birthright citizenship privilege, but my parents did not have permission to stay. And so there are many people here who are fighting for something that is really personal to me, to my family, to many people, many of you who are here. So this will be close to our final level at $1,000. I will pledge a 10,000 if we can get 10 pledges of 1,000. Take my money.
Oh.
1,000.
I like that.
Please,
I like
thank
that. Oh.
you. Thank you. Make it hotter. Come on. Thank you so much, Moss. Thank you very much. Thank you. More money from Gina. Thank you so much. 1,000. Anybody else? 1,000. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Thank you, Paul Perkins Cooey. And okay, we have a special guest.
Gina, what you doing?
Well, so my parents will give $1,000, and as Kenzo mentioned, each of my parents was born in a Japanese-American internment camp during World War II, and so they especially feel this is an important thing. So thank you, Judy.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Gina.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Gina. I'm all choked up. Anyone else at 1,000? Last call. When I say justice, you say
Oh,
Yes.
Douglas.
Yes.
You a
Yes.
trial lawyer. Yeah. I like that.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Okay, 2 more levels, and then we eat. 2 more levels, all right? $500, $100, and we know that you've already given. You're here. And so we just ask that you think about digging just a little deeper for justice. $500.
$500.
Would you please raise your flame? Irene,
Yes.
thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Hold on,
Thank
hold
you.
it up, hold it up. We got to hold down
Hold
your
it up.
numbers. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you. And if you came as a guest tonight, thank you for being with us. But every gift matters, whether it's large or small.
Yeah.
Can we go to our final?
I agreed. Our last one, where's Marie? Is she in the back of the room? We hit it, right? 100,000. 100,000.
Marie, where's your abacus?
All right.
Okay.
Maria says we are this close to $100,000. This close. I think we might be $100 off. So if you are willing to give $100, it makes a difference, right? It makes a difference. So please raise your flames. Last one before we eat. Raise your flames for $100,
thank you.
please.
Thank you.
That is so cool. All right.
Yay, thank you. Thank you to everyone.
Oh my goodness.
Thank
Can I get
you.
your autograph after though? I'm serious. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. All right.
Thank you. Keep your flames up so our staff can
Yes,
come and find
please,
you.
please keep your flames up.
And for anyone who's just a little shy, doesn't want to raise their flame, make a lot of noise like us up here, there's a QR code in your program.
Yeah.
So the final page, donate today or donate when you can. We appreciate every bit of support.
You all are awesome.
Yeah,
7:30.
thank you.
Let's go eat. All right.
Yes.
Mark.
Thank you.
I did have a script. Let's see. I can. Oh, keep it out of the way. But I'm going to skip the script. So I just want to really express great pleasure for the honorees being here tonight and demonstrating great courage in the face of hardship to provide just incredible examples for what we can all do when we join together. So thanks to our honorees. Their work is rooted in community and solidarity, and we've got to continue that work together. And I just want to say, personally, I'm regretful in a bit of a way to stand here because we lost this last winter Kim Tran, our board chair, and I would be remiss if we didn't recognize her contributions to this organization. And I learned a couple of days ago that she is receiving the most prestigious award to be granted to a Washington practicing lawyer. I'm hoping I'm not jumping the gun on this one for them, but it's called the Goldmark Award, which is an award founded by the judge that I clerked for in Washington State. And it's an incredible posthumous honor for her. So I just want to pause for a moment to think about Kim and think about all that she did for this organization and everybody in our community in the Northwest. I also just want to say, I live in a deeply red part of Washington. And at this moment when I come back to DC, it's more foreign to me than that because I go out in my community and I engage with people who don't share the same beliefs as me. And we talk and we find ways to agree and we find ways to disagree in a civil fashion. Red or blue. It's not always comfortable for me because, I don't really share the same beliefs, but I do it because I started doing this for my children, one of whom is half Asian, half Korean, the other is half Chamorro. And I started doing this 20 years ago because Karen Narsaki asked me to, and I didn't know who she was, but I did it anyways, and it took me several months to think about it. And I decided to step up and try to help the organization. And I started doing it for them, but really I do it for all the reasons we have here tonight now. I just still do it for them. They're in their mid-20s. They know what I do here. They call me and text me while I'm here and want to know what's going on. But really, I just look around this room and think what incredible power we have as we engage constructively with those that we don't agree with. And I have the pleasure of doing that every day. And it's possible. And we can do it together. And I'm grateful for all of you being here, grateful for the chance to serve this organization, and just once again want to thank you. And as my friends Kenzo and Judy say, thank you for your generosity. Now please, lai jiabeng, as we say in Taiwanese, or chifan, or whatever your language is, but please go forth and eat, be happy, and thanks for your generosity to the organization.